Thank you for listening to the Following Films podcast. You've always been the caretaker. How The Shining's ending traps Jack Torrance in Stephen King's multiverse. The ending of The Shining isn't about madness, ghosts, or cabin fever. It's about consumption. The Overlook Hotel doesn't merely haunt its guests. It devours them. By the time Jack Torrance swings his axe through the snow-covered halls, he's no longer a man losing control. He's a man who's been completely absorbed by the building itself, body and soul. That's the real horror of The Shining. Evil doesn't simply kill you. It keeps you. When Jack's face appears in that old photograph at the end, frozen in time among a party crowd from decades earlier, it's not just a creepy final image. It's the hotel declaring ownership. Jack isn't dead. He's a part of the Overlook now. The hotel has a way of recycling souls, binding them to its endless cycle of violence and memory. It's a closed loop. People arrive, the hotel consumes, and their spirits become part of the decor. The line, "You've always been the caretaker," isn't just psychological manipulation. It's cosmic truth. Jack has always been there, and he will always be. In Stephen King's universe, the Overlook isn't just haunted. It's sentient. It's a predator disguised as a luxury resort, feeding on suffering and psychic energy. People who shine, those with heightened sensitivity to the supernatural, are its favorite meal. That's why Danny, Jack's son, is such a target. The hotel wants him because his power can sustain it. Jack, meanwhile, is its way in. His alcoholism, rage, and fragile ego make him the perfect vessel for possession. By the time the Overlook truly takes over, there's nothing left of the man who once loved his family. The hotel doesn't whisper to Jack. It becomes him. King's novel ends differently from the Stanley Kubrick film, but both versions share the same eternal recurrence. In the book, Jack briefly fights back against the hotel's control and sacrifices himself by blowing up the boiler room, destroying the Overlook. It's a moment of redemption. But in Dr. Sleep, King's sequel, we learn that the hotel's essence survives. Its ghosts linger at the site, still wanting to feed on new victims. The structure may be gone, but the evil persists. That continuity, the idea that destruction doesn't end the cycle, is the key to understanding how The Shining connects to King's wider universe. Across King's multiverse, evil isn't something that's defeated once and for all. It's cyclical, like the turn of a wheel. The Overlook's repeated pattern of violence mirrors the cosmic loops at the heart of the Dark Tower. Roland, the gunslinger at the center of that epic, spends lifetimes chasing the tower, only to discover he's doomed to repeat his quest endlessly until he learns what he's meant to learn. His story resets again and again, different every time, but always the same. Jack's fate echoes this structure. He is always the caretaker, trapped in his own smaller loop within the Overlook's walls. The hotel resets its story with every new family that arrives, just as Roland resets his journey through the tower. King's worlds are not linked only by recurring characters and places, but by this shared metaphysical rhythm. The Overlook, Derry from It, and the Black House from The Talisman are all thin places, where the boundaries between realities wear thin. These locations are entry points to the multiverse, where energy from other worlds leaks through. Some of that energy is good, but much of it is corrupted. Dark forces that feed on fear, addiction, and despair. The Overlook is one such node, part of a vast network of haunted places connected to the tower's cosmic axis. The ghosts inside the hotel aren't random apparitions. They're manifestations of a larger, darker force. The same malevolent current that powers Pennywise, the Crimson King, and countless other King villains. If you think of the Dark Tower as the heart of all existence, then the Overlook is one of its shadows. It's a kind of anti-tower, a structure that consumes rather than sustains, that traps rather than connects. Every room is a pocket reality, every corridor a doorway to another echo of time. In that way, the Overlook functions as a microcosm of King's entire universe, vast, circular, and haunted by its own history. When Jack becomes a part of it, he's not just dying, he's being written into the architecture of reality itself. What makes this even more interesting is how Dr. Sleep expands on these ideas. In the sequel, Danny Torrance grows up to battle a group called the True Knot, a band of psychic vampires who feed on the steam released when gifted children die. The True Knot is, in essence, the Overlook without walls, a traveling version of the same hunger. They feed on the same energy the hotel once devoured. That connection reinforces the idea that these entities are all drawing from the same well, different faces of one cosmic parasite. Evil in King's universe doesn't die. It migrates, adapts, and finds new forms. It's not just the villains who are caught in these loops. Many of King's protagonists, Roland, Danny, Bill from It, struggle with patterns that seem destined to repeat. They're haunted not only by monsters, but by time itself. The Overlook's ability to trap people in endless cycles of suffering mirrors the larger metaphysical curse that hangs over the tower's universe. The Wheel of Ka, Destiny's eternal rotation, keeps spinning. Every story becomes part of the same story. So when we see Jax frozen in the snow at the end of Kubrick's film or burning the ruins of the hotel in King's novel, it's tempting to think his story is over, but it isn't. The photograph reveals the truth. Jack is still there, and he will always be. The Overlook has folded him into its memory, where he'll remain forever, smiling at the camera, from a party that never ends. It's a fate worse than death, an eternal rerun of his own downfall. That circular horror ties directly into King's greatest theme, the persistence of evil. Whether it's the monster in It returning every generation, the Overlook drawing new caretakers, or Roland endlessly climbing the tower, King's worlds are built on repetition. His characters keep fighting the same battles in different guises because the universe itself is cyclical. Every act of evil leaves a residue that never fully disappears. It just waits for the right moment to start again. The brilliance of The Shining lies in how it captures the cosmic loop through something as simple as a haunted hotel. The Overlook is both setting and character, a spiritual black hole pulling everything into its orbit. Jack Torrance doesn't die here. He becomes part of the gravity. That's what makes the story linger long after it's over. The evil isn't exorcised. It's institutionalized, framed on the wall, waiting for the next visitor to walk through the door. In King's universe, time doesn't move in a straight line. It spirals. The caretaker is always there. The party never ends. And the tower still stands at the center of it all, holding together the fragile worlds that the Overlook keeps trying to swallow. Jack's fate isn't an ending. It's an echo. The wheel turns, the ghosts whisper, and somewhere in the dark heart of Colorado, the Overlook is still hungry.